Hey, this is Saul Overman with Saul Overman Survival. What we're going to do today is go over some medical stuff. First aid kits, medical supplies, give you some of my opinions on what's good to have, what's not good to have, what you should have, what you should look for in your supplies and their readiness. We'll start with some of the instruments here. This is more advanced stuff that most people do not have the training to use or would not want in their medical kit, but others that have some training might be considering the kind of advanced level equipment they'd want to have in their medical kit. This may give them some ideas. Kind of go through these instruments real quickly here. Some of the common ones. These are Kelly clamps, or commonly called hemostats, multi-use device. Come in different shapes. Some are curved, some are straight, different sizes. Multi-use device can be used for to help clean out a wound, to help spread a wound edges open so that you can get inside to clean it out. They can also be used as needle drivers for doing suturing. These are becoming more commonly available. You'll find them in the fishing department of most department stores. Hardware stores have them. The hospitals throw them away. A lot of these come in disposable suture sets and they just pitch them. These cheap ones especially like that. Another thing we want to show is these are iris scissors. They also come in suture removal kits. And that one's a little bit rusty from bad storage. Good all-around pair of scissors, cut sutures, cut bandages with it. They can be used for tissue dissection as well. This is a pair of iris scissors that I've rounded the tips off on, make them a little bit safer and a little more utilitarian. We've got another large Kelly clamp here. Scalpel handles, got a couple varieties here. This is your standard scalpel handle. And these are the blades that go with it. That's a number 11 blade that's fitted. Probably the most utilitarian blade would be that number 11. And those just pop on and off as you need them off the handles. There's a little bit larger blade. There's actually two different sizes of the notches that accept the blades. There's a large size as well. Those suture material, a couple words on that. If you're going to keep something in your kit, I'll show you. On all the suture material, there is a little diagram here that shows the size of the needle. You can see this is 6/0, and that's quite a small needle compared to 3/0. It's quite a bit larger. Anything you would need in an emergency kit, you would want it to be the larger sizes. 4/0, 5/0, 3/0, maybe down to 2/0. Larger needle, larger thread, much more easy to manipulate. You can actually drive these with your fingers alone without using a needle driver. Knots are much easier to tie. Anything that, in an emergency situation, where somebody was in the wilderness or whatever and needed to suture up a wound, anything small enough to actually be done with these smaller size sutures would probably be left for other methods. And if something was very large and somebody was going to be out of contact from professional secondary care for 6 days, 5 days, it might be a good idea to go ahead and sew that wound up if somebody had the skill to do it and knew how to clean the wound beforehand. The smaller suture sizes are more used for control of scarring. In a situation like that, that wouldn't be such a big concern. I think 3/0 is a good all-around size, not too big, not too small. So that's what I've tried to keep on hand. These are the way that the military packages their scalpel blades. Sometimes you'll see them like that in little 5-packs. This is another type of scalpel handle that the military uses. They're prep razors. They have a replaceable scalpel blade. There's one that's open, that's embedded in a little foldable handle. These are very nice, very good. They're meant to be prep razors, but They have a lot of uses. You can use them just about anything. You can do with a scalpel. You can do with this, and they're very good for their original function, which is shaving the hair out from a wound edges so that bandages will be able to adhere to it better and reduce contamination into a wound. This is a pair of McGill forceps. This is used for removing foreign bodies from your airway. Reaching down the throat and getting things. This is a small size. This will work on some adults, and it's meant for smaller head sizes and children. There's other uses for these. They use in the hospital. The main use for a pair in an emergency kit would be to remove a foreign object from an airway. A couple different kinds of forceps. These have the little meat hook tips for making a powerful grip on a small piece of tissue. They also have some function for removing foreign bodies from wounds. This is a little more universal tip, has a little more function in getting down in a wound and pulling stuff out of it. These can also be used as needle drivers for small needles. Large gauge intracasts. These are a good thing to have in your kit. They can be used with a catheter on the end of a syringe for adding a little pressure to an irrigation operation of irrigating a wound. They're also handy for decompressing a tension pneumothorax. So dental pick, it's kind of an all-around tool. Can be handy to have on hand. These are available at the hardware stores. This is a rongeur. This is meant for bone cutting. Not something you would get a lot of use of in most first aid kits, but it's meant for smoothing around in the edges of a bone prior to closing the skin over it. This is an item that's not really a medical item. It's something I picked up in a civilian first aid kit, but it's proved itself to be very handy. It's a pair of very small splinter tweezers. And they work very well. I've used them a lot of times. They came in a little kit with a little magnifying glass and some alcohol preps. But actually I've gotten a lot of use out of these. They're very fine tipped. They'll grab onto the smallest splinter and pull it out. Splinter removal is something it's good to take into account. Because if they're left in, they almost always lead to some sort of foreign body reaction or an infection. Alright, we're going to roll on another video that's showing first aid supplies. So stand by, keep an eye out, and thanks for watching. This is Saul Overman.